Hey web developers out there, let's take a look at Ember CSS Transitions. It's an add-on for Ember.js. Let's see how it works. When using Ember, sometimes you might want to use CSS transitions. And there's a common problem that happens not just with Ember, but with other frameworks where you want to take a component and you want to fade it in or do some effects to it. So there's something called Ember CSS Transitions that helps answer that problem. If you can see here, it's an Ember implementation of CSS transitions like animate and React animation, but in Ember. And there's actually something in Vue as well that's very similar, acts exactly the same. So you can see here from React's world, there's animation add-ons, this React CSS transition group, and then you have this example enter active, and then leave active. And then same thing in the Angular world, you have something very similar here, where you have leave, and you want your component to kind of fade in or fade out or do special effects when it's on the screen. And so that's what this Ember CSS Transitions really helps you with. So if we take a look here, I already have an application running. I'm actually using Addon today, just trying something new and different. And I'm using Windows Subsystem for Linux. So I'm using Windows 10 here. And I already have a server running, and I went ahead and just created an empty app. So we take a look here. Congratulations, you made it. So I just have my quick start here, so we know that's working. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our package.json file here, and we'll go ahead and let's get rid of the welcome page and save it, and we'll go ahead and we'll create a template. Alright, so the template has been created, and we can see it here, index.hbs, and we'll just make sure it's working. And yep, so here it is, hello world. So we know we're talking to our server, it's working. So let's go ahead and just create a button on here. We're going to tie it to an action. We're going to call it action pressed, and we're going to call this press me. Put a break at the end. Now we have a button. Doesn't do anything. That's fine. So let's go ahead and create a controller, and just for the sake of this demo, we'll go ahead and create one. And what the purpose of what we're trying to do is we're going to try to see how we do it without using this Ember CSS Transitions add-on. So if we go Ember G, let's do controller index, created the controller, here it is. So we're going to have actions. Inside the action, we're going to have one called pressed. And inside that pressed, we're going to do something with it. So just for now, let's go ahead and create a property here. We'll call it show, and we'll set it to false. And we're going to go ahead and do toggle property, and this is something built into Ember here. And we're going to pass it in show. So I'm going to go this dot toggle property show. I'm going to save it, and let's make sure we look at the console here. Bring it up so you can see it. Nothing happens, of course. So we'll go and take a look at our index, and we'll do an if here, if show, and we'll close it. Then we'll have this is text. Save it. Alright, so we know it's working. So the variable is toggling it. This is text is showing, it's disappearing as we expect it. So we know we've gotten that far. So let's go ahead and create a component. So Ember G component, we'll call it my comp. And it's created here. And if we look in our components, here's our component. Not sure if you could see that. Hold on. Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave it as that. Okay. Now we have this component here. So let's go to my component. We'll just say this. We'll create a paragraph. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And we'll save it there. And we'll open back up our index.hbs file. And we'll just go ahead and add my comp to here. Okay. There's the best times, the worst times. So our component is showing up as we expect it. So let's go ahead and add it to the if statement. All right, so now our component's in the if statement. So it's being rendered every time we press the button. So if we remember back to our lifecycle hooks, if you look inside here, the component lifecycle, we know that there's a few things that happen every time a component is rendered on the screen and when it's not rendered on the screen. So by convention, Ember.js recommends that you put third-party libraries in the didInsertElement lifecycle hook. So let's see if we can do that. And our goal would be to see, let's say if we can fade in the didInsertElement, the component, using the didInsertElement lifecycle hook. So insert element, and it's always good to do this underscore super dot arguments, and that's just because we don't want to break anything. And we'll just do, we'll go const equals Ember. That way we don't have to do this dot everywhere. So we'll just do it like we normally do. Let's see here if we can go. Let's go back to our component for 1 second. And so we got paragraph tags here. Let's do this. Let's put a div tag here with an ID of, I don't know, blah. And we'll paste it right here. Okay. And we'll go back to the my comp where we're just at. And so let's see if this works. Let's go let's do this. Blah. And we want to, let's see if we can fade in. And let's make it 2000. So this is just jQuery here, as you probably know. Let's see what happens. So nothing happened there. So it's probably because the way the component's rendered on the screen with the didInsertElement. So we can go back here. Let's try to do a hide first. It's reloaded. There it is. And now you see it's fading in, fading out. So if we wanted to do it when it closes or when it gets destroyed, we'd have to put in the next hook, which is the didDestroy, and didInsertElement is the first one, but we can do it when it gets destroyed, which is the didDestroyElement. And we could try to do something, or willDestroyElement. We could try to use these components to fade it back out. But you can see it's not quite perfect. It's not exactly easy, and we're just kind of using jQuery to do everything, so it's not as flexible. So there's another way of doing this, which is better, I imagine. So let's go back here, and we're going to go install this Ember CSS Transitions. So we'll go Ember install Ember-CSS Transitions. Okay, it's added. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to stop the server. I'm going to restart it. It's really nice that Ember works with the Windows subsystem for Linux too, by the way. All right, it's reloaded. Back to the same where we had before. So let's go ahead and create a second component. We'll call it component other comp. Okay, so now we have other comp here, and we'll do something similar here, but we'll put in the quick, well, doesn't really matter, paragraph, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. All right, saved. And just to make sure it's working, we'll go back to our index file and we'll remove that. We'll just put it right here for now. And we'll put in our other comp. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. You can also see this as the page loaded. This is still on that fade. So you can see that. But now we can see the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. So we want it to fade in and then fade out. So let's see if we can do that. Now we have this new add-on installed, the Ember CSS Transitions. So it should make it a little easier, a lot easier, and we have a lot more flexibility. So let's go to our style sheet, and let me go ahead and add it in there. Let me find it. I'm going to copy and paste what we have in here to show you how the example works. Okay. All right, so now we have our style sheet in here. We're going to go back to our index. And we're going to add in this transition group add-on. So we'll paste it. And I just transition group. So what this is saying is that we're going to use the transition group add-on that we just created. We're going to use this transition class example, and then we're going to do the other comp. And what it's going to do is, we'll go ahead and show you. I'm going to go back to the style sheet for a second, and I'm going to make this 1.5 so you can kind of see what's happening. All right, so we'll reload it. And something broke. Let me see what I did wrong here. Now I gotta save it. There you go. You can see it's fading in and then slowly fades out. Fades in, fades out, fades in. Just kind of like expected. So if we look at the console, actually, let's look at the elements. See if you could see that. When we look at the body and the body tag, and you'll see press me here, and here is the text right here. Here's the div tag. So if we press it here, you can see for a second you get the classes added. You see there's Ember Enter, Ember Leave Active, Ember Enter Active, Ember View, Ember Leave. So it adds, so Ember, this add-on adds those to the div tag, so that way it automatically shows the it does the transition for you because it's adding it to the class and then removing it from the class is what I'm trying to say. So that's pretty cool. And of course you can take a look at the style sheet, the Ember with example enter and example interactive, and you can kind of change this and how you do the transitions, and same with the leave. So this is like when the component gets rendered and then when the component gets destroyed. And you don't have to worry about any lifecycle hooks or trying to re-implement didInsertElement or willDestroyElement or anything like that. It just does it all for you, which is really nice. So there's another way to use this. You can go, if you didn't want to include this here, this transition group, you can use it as a mix-in too, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that so it's back to where it was before. You can see there, there's no fading happening. And if I go back to the other comp, I can import it in. I'm going to copy and paste this from another screen. So there's my transition mix-in, and way you enter mix-ins in is you just put the transition mix-in name right here, with a comma, and then you have to name the name of the transition class as a property, and that's example. And what that means is in my styles right here, my styles, this example is that beginning of the name there. So you can see transition class example. We'll save it. And now it's back to fading. So it's now back to using the fade, and I didn't have to use the component inside there. So I just used it as a mix-in. So that's just real quick how to use Ember CSS transitions. Hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. And please like and subscribe to this channel, and please share if you like it. Thank you.